that's overseas and at home. We just ask that you protect them and guide them and direct them. And the only way that you can do it. And we just ask this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Our first item we have tonight is call to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that's not on the agenda may do so at this time. Just know that you need to keep your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing nobody moved at this time, we'll come back to special events. Close call to the public. We have mid-year financial report of fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. Mr. Justin Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on our mid-year status. Prepared a PowerPoint presentation for that tonight. Just a quick overview. We just have a few slides to talk about where we're at mid-year. Keep in mind that our benchmark is December 31st, so when we're looking at percentages, 50% is typically going to be a good number for us. The other thing to keep in mind is all revenues and expenses don't come evenly spread across 12 months. There may be some cases where we spent more money because all the payments are due in July. So as we go through, we'll try and highlight that. But we'll look at general fund revenues and expenses, do a quick review of the sales tax chart that goes out in the monthly memo, and then talk about key revenues and expenses compared to budget, and then do a quick review of the debt service. So the first item we have here is general fund revenues. And like I said, at 50%, our taxes and franchise fees are coming in at 57%. So ahead of budget. Our state shared revenues right at budget. With our police, the non-grant revenues, we are a little bit low in that area. Most of that is attributed to accruals for the communication center billings. We send those bills out the end of the second quarter, which is December, but the payments aren't received until January, so they don't show up in this report. Any questions on the revenues?
I just think that photo enforcement just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
It sure does. Been a long time, but
that's the end.
Yep.
Probably be the last one. On the expense side, one area that's a little bit high on the expenses is the city magistrate. And the reason for that is we pay the full IGA rate to the county at the first of the year. So that's why that's elevated. Otherwise, everything is pretty well in line. Any questions on the expense side? This is a chart with our sales tax data year to date. We're in 2020, so it's the green on the far right of the columns for the month to month. And you can see that for most months we've performed at or better than the prior year. And we do have the 5-year history, and you can see a nice trend going from fiscal year 2015 to the current year, fiscal year 2020. Currently, we're about 4.79% ahead of where we were last year, which is about $312,000. And that's well ahead of the budget. On our state shared revenues, we're tracking right at 50%. No concerns there. Everything's coming in as expected. On the HERF, very similar. We're a little bit less than 50. There was one outstanding payment that we're still waiting to receive, but otherwise we're doing pretty well on the HERF as well. The fines and forfeitures, we're doing very well on that. With 50% being where we should be, we're at 76.5%. So definitely ahead of budget for fines and fees. On the airport revenue, the chart you're seeing here, we're at 32.8% through 50% of the year. The reason for that is that we've programmed $285,000 for a de-icing facility. That revenue won't come in until the project is approved and funded. So if you take that out of the budget amount, then we're well over 50% on the leases and fees. And we're also ahead of budget on the fuel and oil sales. Okay, next we have the utility fund revenues. The first column is for water. It's performing ahead of budget. The wastewater is a little bit less than budget. I did take a sneak peek at January, and through the end of January, we should be at 58.3%, and we're at 57.9%. So we did make up a lot of ground in January, and it's tracking right with the budget. The sanitation is also a little bit low, but it's still tracking several $100,000 ahead of the expenses. So we're in good shape in both of those, even though the numbers look like they're a little low. On the expense side, tracking well below 50% in all three areas. This is a snapshot of our debt service. Our PSPRS does not show up on the debt service, but we've really been focusing on that for the last couple of years. And we have published that to the council, but we did improve from 56.3% funded to 72.5% funded. And we still plan to contribute additional funds in June if the budget holds. And we're hoping to get up above 80%, which would be well above the state average. That's all I have prepared for tonight. Are there any questions for me?
I don't see any from council. We just appreciate what you and your staff do, and it looks like we're right trending perfect so far.
Thank you.
Next item is the consent calendar. Is there any items that need to be discussed on the consent calendar? Those items are Resolution R 2020-03, an application Department of Transportation for Federal Transit Administration. And then we have the minutes of the joint study session of January 14th, special meeting minutes of January 14th, study session minutes of January 21st, and the regular meeting on January 21st. Look for a motion. I have a motion by Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilwoman Kakavas. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See this pass 6-0. Next item is old business, number 8, consideration of replacing a city council member. Previously, we discussed this at a previous meeting, and it was asked to be placed on here for a continuation. I need a motion on this to continue. Councilwoman Kakavas?
I'd like to move to remove this from the table.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Leach. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Yeah, passed 6-0. At this time, we're open for consideration. As people know, we've recently lost a council member, Rennie Crittenden, and we just need to discuss further how the council would like to proceed on making reappointing or appointing someone to fill that vacancy. So this time I'll open it for discussion amongst council members. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, we've done it 2, 3, or 4 different ways in the past, and I just think maybe this one here, just open it up and have people write in if they're interested in being on the council to replace Rennie Crittenden, and then us interviewing them and make a selection off that.
Any other discussion or ideas?
Second that.
Okay.
Is that in the form of a motion?
It's not a motion, it's
It's
just
not a motion,
discussion right now.
Just an observation.
Yeah.
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
If we're ready, go ahead.
To say. Huh?
I'd like probably a little more direction on like what time frame you would want, like maybe open it up maybe till the end of February. And then I don't know if you guys are interested in interviewing any of the candidates sometime in March. I know that March 3rd. Councilman Leach and the mayor are probably out of town, so we probably want to look at maybe, if we do some interviews, maybe doing it like on March 10th or something, appointing either that night or on the meeting on March 17th. We just like a little more direction on how you want that to look like. So if you could include that in your motion, that would be great.
Okay. So if I move that we solicit indication of interest, letters of interest, whatever you want to call it, through the month of February, and then schedule interviews with the interested parties on March the 10th, was that a suggested date that you gave us? And then expect to make an appointment on the following council meeting. Is that
Mhm.
clear?
There may be some interviews maybe that could still go on the 17th, 10th, or the 17th prior to that
Oh,
meeting.
we don't know how many we got.
Right, so that's why, I'm just saying if there was a number that we couldn't do it all in one evening.
I
then-
would
then on the two sides
Make
there.
that change. Is that, I'm asking council if he thinks that's specific enough.
Yeah, so I think what I hear you saying is like through maybe February 28th, take
Yeah.
letters of interest
And advertise in the paper or
advertise in the paper
on our website and
and then maybe like March
I mean,
10th and
we're out
17th
there.
do the interviews.
tonight for anybody that's watching.
So if we don't get through everybody on the 10th, then we can extend the period for interviews.
Yeah, we can extend the interviews, but we would probably plan to make the appointment on the meeting of the 17th. You guys could all wear green. I think that would look appropriate for St. Patrick's Day and everything.
So that gives us a little over 3 weeks to get all the information together.
Yeah, we could, we got to advertise a little bit, people submit, and then we close that and then look at, we don't necessarily have to interview everybody if we choose not to, or we could look at that. Normally we have, but if the number's so large, we can,
Yeah.
I think maybe rather than just a letter of interest, they may want to request maybe a resume or something a little bit, about the person would be more than just, hey, I'd like to serve. I think if that could help us narrow down, if we got a lot of people, then it gives us some more, so I think if we gave direction that they submitted a little bit of a resume
A
or something.
bio and
Yeah, or at least
So
a
you're-
little
reason
bio.
for
Yeah.
You're
wanting to
thinking
serve.
then
Right.
staff could prepare a little questionnaire they could answer or something or what?
Or something similar like that we've had, That's there.
Now,
Okay.
I want to be clear, in my mind, this does not exclude anybody that is eligible to serve as a council member,
Right.
okay? All right.
Does everybody plan on being here those days, March 10th, 17th?
I'll look for a motion if
I believe Councilman
whoever.
make a
I
motion.
thought I put that in the form of a motion. Did I?
Well, why don't you restate it then?
You're just being blumped off there. Okay, I move that we show our intent to solicit interested parties through the month of February and intend to interview on March 10th and or, if needed, 17th. And anticipate the possibility, that's leaving it open, right? To appoint on that, is there a meeting on the 17th
Yes.
of March? Okay. Is staff thinking that gives you good enough direction? And if you like, I will direct in that motion that the staff put together a bit of a little questionnaire for people to fill out that are interested in serving the remainder of that term.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hack. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passed 6-0. Thank you. Next item is new business consideration, resolution number R 2020-04, authorizing submitting application for Arizona State Parks Land and Water Conservation Fund application, signature and the approval of the project agreement for construction of inclusive playground and splash pad at Frontier Park. Miss Lisa Robertson, good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. Nice to be here. It's been a while. So tonight the city is seeking resolution to authorize the submission of an Arizona State Parks Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application with matching funds of $600,000 for the construction of an inclusive playground, ADA splash pad, and additional parking at Frontier Park. On December 18th, 2019, the city submitted a pre-application to the Arizona State Parks for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant to construct an inclusive playground adjoining ADA splash pad and a lighted parking lot that would provide approximately 8 ADA parking spaces at Frontier Park on 9th Place. The LWCF pre-application was approved by Arizona State Parks on December 20th, authorizing the city to submit a formal LWCF grant application for project construction. The inclusive playground features a wide range of developmentally appropriate play elements that allow all children and their families to play together regardless of their abilities. The adjacent splash pad will be an ADA accessible, and the lighted parking lot will contain a minimum of 8 parking spaces that meet ADA guidelines for parking standards and approximately 40 general parking spaces. The total estimated cost of the project is $1.2 million. The maximum grant funding available from Arizona State Parks Land and Water Conservation Fund is $600,000. A 50% local match is required for the project, which can be comprised of cash, donated labor, materials, services, and/or equipment. The Arizona State Park application requires the city to certify by resolution the approval of the application, signature authorization, and the availability of local matching funds and authorization to sign the project sponsor agreement.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions, comments? I just want to point out that this all-inclusive is not only for the children that maybe would play, it's also for maybe some of the parents that are possibly handicapped that can't necessarily do the same things on a playground or maybe it's even an older person or somebody that has just not the same abilities that everyone else. And in the survey, it shows that 1 out of 7 children are hindered by some type of a disability or autism or something that restricts them to interact the same way that you and I may interact on a playground. And so having this feature in a portion of the playground and then also adding the features of a water park is going to be, I think, a park that will be well used, well embraced by our community. And it will include many people that right now may feel a little bit excluded in the community in a park environment.
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Kakavas.
If there's no other comments, did you? I'd like to move to adopt resolution R 2020-04, authorizing submission of an Arizona State Parks Land and Water Conservation Fund grant application, and further move to authorize the mayor to sign the project sponsor agreement, certifying the availability of $600,000 in matching funds for constructing an inclusive playground, ADA splash pad, and parking at Frontier Park. I just also like to reiterate how exciting this project is, and it's a great thing for our community if we can get these funds.
Thank you.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Leach. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 6-0. This time, thank you to staff for what you did. Jay and everyone on part of this. I know that you guys worked hard to bring this where it could be presented to the community, and we're grateful how the community so far has embraced it with donations and different things. So we just hope that it will be continuing to be a success. Thank you.
Council.
Next item is item 9B, consideration of construction contract for a senior center kitchen expansion, City of Show Off, Mr. Cup.
Good
Show
evening,
us how
Mayor.
this kitchen can cook. Oh, can we have like a wonk and cook or something like that? Show that, once you get this done.
Thank you, Mayor. The Sholo Senior Center provides food to community members with low to moderate incomes through the Meals on Wheels program and through congregate meals at the Senior Center. The proposed kitchen expansion will add approximately 400 square feet of storage space for bulk goods and include purchasing a commercial refrigerator and freezer. The city received grant funding for an expansion of the kitchen through the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, State Special Project account. Federal funding is available on a competitive basis through this program, which funds projects to assist persons of low to moderate income to prevent or eliminate slums or blight, or to solve an urgent need or health hazard. The project was designed by Lawrence Sadler Architect. The CDBG approved budget for construction is $73,000 with a city match of $16,000 for a total construction budget of $89,000. The grant request was based on the architect's construction estimate of $84,000 and an additional $5,000 for a commercial refrigerator. The project was publicly bid in accordance with the statutory requirements with the following results. Point Companies, $136,463.07. Restore Pro Inc., $182,120. Woodruff Construction, $214,000. Stratton Builders, $331,113. Because all of the bids far exceed the funding amount, staff recommends rejecting all bids for the Senior Center Kitchen Expansion City of Sholo Project CS 1220. Staff is working with the architect to find cost-cutting items. We expect to rebid the project in the coming weeks. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
On a situation like this, could we save any time by going ahead and awarding it to the lowest bidder with the contingency that we go back and work with them? Because I know we have a certain matching time to get this built by, or we lose those funds.
Right. The construction needs to be complete by October of this year. It's probably about a 75 to 90-day construction period. So there's quite a bit of time left, I think.
So you're comfortable with completely rebidding it rather than award it with the amount contingent upon working and making some adjustments?
I think at this point, because of where the project is and some major work that we have to do on the design, I think it's better to reject all bids. I did consult with Mr. Brown, and he did indicate that we could award the bid for the bid amount and then attempt to negotiate with the contractor for a lower price. But I think that really we need to redesign that
And just
project.
scope a little in the design. Okay.
If we rebid it, we could get new bidders. Is that not true?
Yes, absolutely.
Not limited to these people.
Right.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
So, Bill, it's about a $50,000 difference from what we estimated it, or the architect estimated to the first bid there. Do we have enough that we can go in there and change that around and to make that difference or not?
I really think there's several reasons why these bids were high. One of them is that contractors are very busy right now, and so their prices are going to be higher. The other is that because it's CDBG funding, the bid packet itself is a pretty thick document. It looks like there's a lot more to it. In reality, there's some wage reporting and things like that they have to do. I think that as staff, we can do a better job communicating that you shouldn't be intimidated by this big, thick set of documents. Most of it's reading material. I think another reason why the bid was high was because it's only 400 square feet, so you get no economy of scale for a small project like that. And lastly, one of the scope items was a 90 square foot walk-in freezer, and that far exceeded what the estimate was on that particular construction item. And that's something that we're looking at eliminating and instead purchasing freestanding commercial freezers as opposed to the walk-in. That was estimated at about $15,000, and I think the low bidder was closer to $40,000 on that item itself. So,
You may need 2 freezers. Councilwoman Kakavas.
Bill, just for the public's understanding, like you said, this is only 400 square feet for $89,000 is the estimate. Can you explain why, a 400 square foot addition is going to cost that much money?
I went through those 4 reasons, and really the economy of scale thing is you still have to have a concrete contractor, and you still have to have a framer, and you still have to have a roofer, and all these trades and folks need to come in there. Everybody needs to make money, and we don't begrudge anybody making money. I think that if you took the $136,000 low bid and divided the square footage into it, it's like $320 a square foot, which is a big number. The architect's estimate was about 220, which I thought was a pretty reasonable number. So we were all surprised to see that big number.
Vice Mayor.
If nobody has any other things, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Okay.
I move to reject all bids for the senior center kitchen expansion, City of Shuttle Project CS-1220.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hatch. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passed 6-0. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cup. Next item is a summary of current events. I'd like the council members on current events. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want everybody to know that if you're going down 9th and hitting the Deuce of Clubs, we've been doing some stuff there with the Main Street. We've been doing some landscaping. It's not done yet, so hopefully within the next month or so, everything will be done, and it should be a really exciting corner and really set a good tone for the city of Show Low. So please don't think that we're done just because we planted a couple of trees and threw some big rocks out there. So it's still coming. So
Thank you. Anyone else? Current events? Just want to thank council members for their attendances at Rennie Crittenden's funeral on Saturday. It was a really good turnout by the community and by citizens, and the Elks Club did a great job providing everything and a great dinner for those that were in attendance. Also want to reach out and thank the Marcia Whipple, Winky Whipple family for their tradition of many years of biscuits and gravy. This last Saturday was the last time that they will host the biscuits and gravy, and we hope that the city will continue that tradition of having a breakfast for Groundhog's Day going forward. And so we look forward to helping and continuing that going forward. So, and just want to thank everybody for what you do in the community. It was an early spring. We had one nice day and then winter came back. So, let's just be patient and it will be here. So thank you so much. Look to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. The library is hosting a Harry Potter book night at the library this Thursday, February 6th, from 6:15 to 8 p.m. for ages 8 to 18. The event will include a variety of games, and for more information, the library's number is 532-4070. The Recreation Department is selling tickets for $6 each for the Daddy-Daughter Dance. That's for girls ages 1 through 13 on Friday, February 7th. That's this Friday at City Campus Gym. It's we've sold a lot of tickets. It typically sells out, but there still are some tickets available. You can call 532-4140. And for those who like to play softball, even though it's still winter, registration began on February 3rd for spring one-pitch co-ed softball, with games slated to begin March 9th. Registration's also opened on February 3rd for spring swim lessons, which begin on March 2nd. And you can contact 532-4140 for more information on any of those items. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else on current events? Look at scheduling of meetings. Maybe at this time we need to schedule that meeting on March the 10th.
Yeah, what time would you like to meet for that?
Potential interviews. I think a lot of it would be maybe the number of candidates, but probably tentatively 6 o'clock or something. If we have to go earlier, then we will.
But we'll look at the number of candidates and we'll let the council know when we need to start so you can finish.
Any other scheduling of meetings? Seeing no other business at this time, we need a motion to move into executive session where we will discuss some transitional housing and also the executive session minutes of the January 7th meeting. Have a motion by Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hatch. All those in favor? Any opposed? See, that passes 6-0. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate you being here.